Good evening and welcome everybody to the latest in our series of Save the Rhino live webinars. This evening we're very excited to be talking to you about man's best friend, but also maybe rhino's best friend. We're going to be learning more about the dogs that work with rhinos through the eyes of their handlers, and a bit more about how canine units help rhino conservation. So it's always so lovely to be able to share the stories from people in the field with people joining us from around the world. I think tonight we've got people dialing in actually from lots of rhino range states. We've got some people from South Africa, Kenya, Mozambique, Tanzania, Nepal, Zambia, and then also some people from further afield, the States, Australia, Germany, and Belgium. And Save the Rhino are very excited to share news with you about our Big Give Christmas appeal. So we're going to be raising funds for our partners in the canine units and for their dogs this Christmas. Between the 2nd and 9th of December, we'll be able to double your support through match donations to the canine units that are run by our partners. So watch out for more information about that great appeal that's coming up soon. But in order to explain a little bit more about why this support is needed, this evening we're going to have a panel discussion with people from 3 different sites, 3 different partner areas of ours that work with dogs, to dig in a little bit more into the work that they do and the experiences they have, and understand just how important dogs are, but some of the challenges that they're facing. After we've done our panel discussion, we'll open the floor and there'll be a chance for you to ask your questions to our guests. So please do drop your questions into the chat as they occur to you, as they arise. And then maybe just to flag as ever that some of our speakers are joining us from remote areas. So there may occasionally be a bit of a delay or a glitch with their tech. So please bear with us. And also, because in some areas, dog handlers are targeted by criminal networks, one of our speakers has opted not to use his camera this evening, and he'll be keeping his face off screen. So let me introduce to you the people we're very honoured to have joining us this evening. Our speakers tonight, and in no particular order, but our speakers tonight, firstly, will be Joseph Kisillo. Joseph is the Deputy Head of the Anti-Poaching Unit at Lewa Wildlife Conservancy in northern Kenya. Joseph joined Lewa in 2012, and he started as a field ranger before being promoted to lead the canine unit back in 2018. He's steadily risen to his current position due to his determination and his real passion for protecting wildlife. And being a ranger is not just a job for him. It's a calling that he says is an important path that entwines his love for nature with a commitment to positively impacting the world around him. Secondly, I'm really delighted to be welcoming back Joyce Chimwenga. Joyce is the canine unit for the North Luangwa Conservation Program in Zambia. She's the senior canine trainer and at the North Luangwa Canine Unit for the North Luangwa Conservation Program. Joyce is originally from one of the communities that surround North Luangwa National Park. She began her career as one of the first locally recruited canine handlers at North Luangwa, not long after the unit was established back in 2015. And since then, she's advanced from handler to becoming a certified trainer. She has dual certification with the American Society for Canine Trainers, and now she manages the day-to-day operations, training, and welfare for the canine team. And additionally, she plays a central role in mentoring junior handlers and developing local leadership in the unit. So lots to chat to Joyce about. And last but not least, we'll be joined by Lucky. Lucky is a dog handler from KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. He's been working at Hluhluwe Mfolozi Park for 7 years. He initially joined their anti-poaching unit as a dog handler 4 years ago. So welcome to all 3 of you. I know it's later in the evening for in South Africa and in Zambia and Kenya. We appreciate you staying up and to talk to us and share your time with us this evening. Perhaps we could just start with a little bit of scene setting for everybody at home. You could maybe take it in turns, please, to tell us about the reserve where you work and a little bit about your job, what it is in your park that you use dogs to do. Should we start with Joyce? Is that okay, Joyce?
It's okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, thank you. Yeah, so my name is Achiruba Joyce Chamwenga, working from Zambia, North Ruangwa National Park. Yeah, so in the area where I'm working from, the area is big, but currently we are located in the remotest area, but our dogs are doing a lot more on detection. We are currently focusing on detection side. Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. And so you're using the dogs. What is it that the dogs can detect, Joyce? What do you use them to detect?
Okay, we are using our dogs to detect about 32 targets now. Like they are able to detect 32 targets. I mean, what they can find. Like we train our dogs to detect about 32 of those things. And some of those things that they can detect is we have lino horn, elephant meat, skins, skins of big cats like lions, leopards, bushmeat, any type of bushmeat, like we have trained our dogs to detect on those things. So they are used to those because currently what we do mostly for our dogs to find those targets, we do operate like we have road blocks. We also conduct the house searches, village sweeps. Then we also have open areas searches. So in those areas, most of those things like that's where we can find that type of the aids that our dogs are trained on. Yeah, even the type of farms, any type of farm, our dogs are able to detect on them. Like we have in a village trip, when you go out for a village trip, you find out to say in villages, people are used to make like their own homemade farms. So our dogs are trained to find all of those. So they are main like in dog current which we have, they are trained on those. About the 32 of them, they can find them. Even if you hide them under the mattress, our dogs are able to detect on those things.
So they can detect all of those wildlife products and then also things like ammunitions, weapons, bullets,
Yes.
those kind of things as well that people are using for the crimes. Thank you, Joyce. That's really interesting. Joseph, how about you? Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about Lewa and how you're using the dogs.
All right, thanks so much, Joe. My name is Joseph Proris. I'm the Deputy Head of Anti-Poaching Unit, Lewa Life Conservancy, Kenya. We operate in 93,000 acres. That's Lewa Boron landscape, and that's where we have rhinos. It's fenced, it's a protected area. But when we are using our dogs are, we can deploy our dogs on different missions because, yes, they are based on Lewa. We can deploy them, when we are doing conservation. Perhaps we have something like poaching. But now we are covering a huge area outside the protected areas because we border Mount Kenya to the south. And we have a corridor linking Lewa to the mountain where we have a free flow of wildlife. And the moment they get to the mountain, yes, sometimes their security might be compromised in one way or the other. And when they need a sort of deployment, maybe now reinforcement teams on the ground, we deploy our dogs to go and help them. And also we border, the Samburu or the northern Kenya, the wider conservation area to the north. And also we have another corridor linking Lewa to the north. So our dogs can be able to get deployed on different missions to the different areas, not just inside here, Lewa, but we go beyond as the northern Kenya, whereby we have community conservancies, we have national reserves, and also we have the community land, whereby we have a lot of wildlife moving freely in those areas. So the moment there's something really happens on the ground, perhaps poaching or human-wildlife conflict, we deploy these dogs to go and try and, to track the suspect or the culprit. because our dogs are purely tracker dogs, and what they track or they follow human smell. That's what they have been specialized to do. So apart from conservation, we do many other things like now rescue mission. When someone get lost in the community areas, they always give us a call, and then we deploy these dogs to go and help them. And also the government agencies, they also call us, like the Kenya Police Service, the National or the Kenya Wildlife Service, whenever they have any kind of insecurity incidents that really happens on the area, and they need dogs. They always give us calls, and then we deploy. So our dogs really covers a very huge area, not just inside Lewa Life Conservancy, but we go beyond the perimeter of Lewa to go and help our communities, our community conservancies, and the government stakeholders. And our dogs are purely tracker dogs, and the origin of these dogs is from South Africa. We have one pure bloodhound. She is 6 years now, and we have a cross bloodhound Doberman, and she is 5 now.
Very interesting. Thank you, Joseph. I'm sure we'll come back and chat about the different dogs in a little bit more detail in a moment, because I think that'd be really interesting for people. And it's already coming through how people are using dogs for different reasons in different places. You have the tracker dogs for your needs in Kenya and in Zambia. Joyce is using detection dogs much more to look for specific products. Lucky, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about where you work and what it is that you're using dogs to do in your area, please.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Lucky Ntombela from Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. Currently working at Shushu Impolozi Park in KwaZulu-Natal. I've been a handler here of about 7 years now, since from 2019, and 4 years dedicated working as a handler along with the Canine Unit. And we are also a team which is combined, working along with the anti-poaching unit. So they are there for basically to perform the duties, all the duties that we have as a Canine Unit, and they are there to also supply the safety and security of the whole team of Canine Unit as well as the canine. Whatever it takes in the bush or outside the community, whereas we more like active when it's the live reaction. If we are attending or we are conducting the stop and searches along the corridor road, because we are having a big national road which are crossing inside this park, which is from the town to town, from Tuba town to Shabisa town. So which is very busy, that road is very busy. And we found out it's usually used by the poachers to do the drop and pickups. Most of the time if there is, if there are intruders inside, especially if they were coming in their numbers to poach these white rhinos that we have on this park. So this park is also big, like as it is 96,000 hectares in all, consists of 5 sections on it as a whole. And we are also the only team that is respond whatever it takes, any live operation that is happening around this park. Wow. This park is also large, as it is also a big home of this white rhino, southern of the white rhino. And it's responsible to even save these white rhinos from near extinction, since it was proclaimed from 1895. So we are, as this team, we are also dealing with these intruders in many ways, and we are also having these kind of dogs, the 2 different breed of dogs, which are, we have 2 Malinois, 2 Dutch Shepherd, and also the 2 Bloodhounds. As they are, yeah.
Sorry. Thank you, Lucky.
Oh,
I'm going to be rude and interrupt you there because you're giving
okay.
everybody spoiler alerts for my later questions. I'm sure people will want to know about your different dogs in a minute, but maybe before we get to that, one of the things people have been really interested in is how you look after the dogs, what it is that you do to keep them safe and healthy. Maybe you could kick us off, Lucky, by talking a little bit about that.
According to checking health of them, it's not only for the feeding or only for the training,
Mm,
but it consists of many aspects here when we are going to look at to keep vaccination up to date. So for preventing the rabies, and we are also deworm regularly,
mhm.
and so that they help to stay healthy. And we are also looking at tick and flea control.
Okay.
From them is as we are also got many ticks around on this park, which are even more dangerous, even from the bigger wildlife encounters.
Mm,
So, and another thing is to, as a handler, is to watch for sign of illness. From early on the day, you have to check if the dog is loss of appetite. You have to check that before you letting the dog out of the kennel.
right.
To check the vomiting, coughing, and limping, so that you will also know that as a handler you have a healthy dog for that particular day or for
Mm,
that upcoming live reaction if it may happen.
mhm,
So about the safety, especially on the bush, in the bush, because we normally keep long hours working in the bush.
mm,
Like we are each and every work we have live operation that it's happening inside, and it's end up like going outside the community also by
mm,
the long process from the start to the end, because most of the time the starting is mostly inside the park and the
right.
ending, yeah, it's also outside. So inside the park we make sure that our dogs are safe. Like we have to monitor each and every movement of our dogs
Mm,
by putting the collars on them. And
mm,
even on our follow-ups, if it's time for follow-ups, maybe we are tracking the human scent or those intruders, we have to make sure that they didn't even get a chance for them to even shoot our dogs or to panga them.
no, no.
Yes. So the safety is quite more some of the aspect that we have to look on, and even to just check for your dogs for the safety from snake
Mm,
bites, monitoring the snake bites and the sharp thorns. We also have the trees that got the sharp thorns here.
of
The
course.
traps, yeah, the traps or aggressive wildlife encounters.
Mm,
So you must always, each and every time you're walking with your dog in the bush, in the field, you have to just keep your dogs as close as possible as you can.
mm,
We also have this thing of beeping a dog. By beeping a dog, is a good training of we train them each and every day from Monday to Friday to just letting the dog know and to respond from that beep tone
mm.
that it might come back to you as close as possible.
Ah,
If
so
yeah,
recall. You make the noise and then the dog recalls to you so he's safe.
exactly, it's a kind of a recall, yes. And
Mm,
also to keep the safety on the dog, it's where we know very well on this side we are dealing with the heat condition,
mm,
especially on this summer. So whereas you can be careful, 100% careful that you might not get your dog overworking or under overheating
mm.
situation. So you don't let your dog to be overheat so that you can avoid the heat stroke.
Yeah, when it's very hot in the summer.
Exactly, because
Yeah,
it is a major risk in this game reserve.
there's
So and
a lot to think about, Lucky. There's a lot for you
Yeah,
to be thinking about to look after the dogs and keep them well.
yes,
Jo
exactly.
Joseph, thank you, Lucky. That
Okay, thank you.
you're really
Uh,
thinking very widely about all the different things you need to consider for the dogs there. Joseph, from you, what do you have anything to add? Maybe.
Yeah, I think my colleague Lucky have just touched on so many things.
Mm,
But when it comes to health, you have to start with their kennels to make sure it's quite clean, and we have to do 100% kennel management to make sure their running pen is quite good and is free of any diseases or contamination, so that the dogs cannot get contaminated to any diseases.
yes.
And the other thing is that you have to keep all the records when it comes to the vaccination, because now that we are working in a very fast land, and there are quite a lot of diseases, ticks, and all sort of things. You have to make sure that you keep all your records clean. So any time that you might need a vet to come on site to come and check your dogs, you make sure that you have all the records to produce to them, so that they know exactly what kind of of disease they're suffering with, or what exactly type of tablets or vaccine they need. So you have to make sure that these dogs are quite healthy, because the moment that they are not healthy, that we cannot be able to rely on them. And without these dogs, we cannot be able to operate as anti-poaching units. And now, when it comes to safety, safety is something else, because everything, we say safety first. And safety has to start from the kennels. You have to do their kennels properly and make sure nothing can get into the kennels, like perhaps snakes, as my colleague mentioned, or maybe some wild cats like leopards or lions, or nothing can get into the kennel to make to hurt our dogs, or maybe to make them comfortable, or even to go on to an extent of killing. So you have to make sure that your kennels is quite done properly, to make sure that our dogs are living in a very safe area. And now operationally, you have to get so many things to make sure that your dogs are safe when you deploy them operationally. And in our case here, we have the Garmin enriches. So the moment we deploy our dogs, we have the GPS collars and the Garmin device that we call it enrich. So the moment we put on the harness and then you deploy the dogs, when a radio operator seated in the ops room, they can be able to see the real location of that dog. So in case of anything happen, like now, perhaps a contact, we can be able to see the exact location where what do they need. If they need a sort of reinforcement, we can be able to get to their live location as far as we can. So we have to invest more in technology to make sure that our dogs are quite safe in the field, because sometimes we are quite exposed to dangerous things. Because perhaps you can, do a follow-up following armed poachers, and you have your dogs, and we have to make sure that these dogs are secure at all times. So we need also to invest more in technology to make sure that these dogs are quite safe at all times. Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph. And interesting what an important role technology plays nowadays in so many different ways. Of course, including tracking dogs. That must be really useful. Joseph, what about training? Is this something that's a big part of what you do with the dogs day to day?
Yeah, when it comes, the working dogs and more of anti-poaching unit, as I've said before, an anti-poaching unit can never be complete without the dog team. And the more you train your rangers, you have also to train your dogs as well, and to make sure they're up to standard. And when you train the working dogs, you have to make sure that you keep all the training records, to make sure that any time that all these training records needed anywhere, perhaps in the court, you can be able to produce. Because in our case now, our working dogs are being certified by the Kenya Police. So originally, the trainer comes from South Africa to make sure that these dogs meet the required standard to be deployed operationally. And also now, after that, we call in the Kenya Police to come and certify. And reason being, when we go and now do a hot pursuit, that's now following, the gangs or criminals. And for example, when we make arrests, we need to take all these people to the court. And the moment you take these guys to the court, you need to produce a certification. And certification goes by with the tracking records and training records. So we have to make sure that the training is something that we really give as a first priority to make sure that the dogs are trained at the high level. And we train them on different areas because you are working inside a protected area and also in the community areas. We have a dedicated team that goes out to make sure that our dogs train in different environment to make sure that we expose them to different challenges. So most of the time we go out, we train in the community areas. That's quite different from inside a park or a protected areas, because whenever you go out, there's a lot of crowd, human activities, or livestock, different smells from what you can get from a protected area. So we blend all those things to make sure that our dogs are ready and we can be able to deploy them at any given time to any environment. And also the other thing, because now we are working in a rhino sanctuary and we give the rhinos a priority when it comes to security. We also do night trackings to make sure that whenever we have an urgent call, when it comes like now poaching and we need to deploy our dogs, the dogs also have that that capacity to track at night. And I can tell you, tracking at night is more easier than tracking during the day, because during the night it's more cooler and the dogs is quite comfortable. And now that's where the technology comes in, because you cannot be able to see. Sometimes maybe it's quite dark and you need all those devices to make sure you can track your dogs, to make sure that you can see your teams on the ground back in your operation room. So in case of anything happens, you can be able to link up with them and help them at any given time. So training for dog units is something that should be given a priority.
Fascinating, Joseph, and incredible that you're out tracking in the dark. I suppose as you say, it makes sense because it's cooler and often that's when activity's happening. Joyce, perhaps we could hear about how your canine unit is looking after the dogs and the things you're doing day to day to keep them safe and healthy, and maybe given your experience, you could tell us a little bit about the training for handlers and how that works, please.
Okay. Like how we are taking care of our dogs, or especially when they are at the kennels, not even very different from what Joseph and Lack have said. When we are at the kennels, what most important is that you look after the dogs. You start with how clean is the dog. Like you clean the kennels inside and outside. You also need to groom the dogs. We have set up that small like a routine for us. So we need to groom our dogs. We also need to bath our dogs at some point, not every day, but grooming must be every day depending on the type of the dog which you have. Like ours, we have one. If you don't groom it today, tomorrow it will be like, I don't know, a mess. Someone can't even look at it. So for us, it's grooming, cleaning, and making sure that the dogs are clean. Like, especially when where we are working from, we are working in two parts. We are in the park. We are based in the park. Again, we are also based in game management areas where the communities are here. Yeah. So in the game management, we don't have much of CC prize, but in the park, when we go out in the park, most of them we in the area is occupied with CC prize. So what we do before even taking the dog out of the kennel, we spray them with decatives just to make sure that our dogs are protected from the flies, like CC flies.
So the testy flies can't attack the dog and give them diseases. You spray them.
Yes. So we make sure that when taking them out, we spray them with decatives. So after spraying with them with decatives, then we take them out. Then at some point, you don't even have to spray the dog with a decatives directly, but we have set up like more like CC traps. Like we have made around the kennels, near the kennels. On the way when going in the park, we have we have the team which have set up the CC traps just to make sure that the dogs are protected from the CC flies, because yes, at some point we had the big problem for the dogs just to bite it from the CC flies. Yeah. Yes. So after that is done, then in the morning we clean, we feed them, after that, we also have the vet. Like
Mhm.
every day we have daily checkup of the dogs, health checkup of the dog. So every day, every handler knows what to do. They will wake up, they will do the body check of the dog. They will start, they know the procedure. Then they will do the dog inspection. After dog inspection, then they will do kennel inspection. Then just on the dog inspection, when doing the dog inspection, the handler will realize or will check to say maybe the temperature is too high for that dog. Then that person will report direct to me. After the reporting direct to me, then I will also, if I see, because during we have trainings like vet training. Then the vet comes from Lusaka, then she teaches us just basics on the how to take care of the dogs. Like when you see something, maybe the dog is not active, then you need to check on this and this. Then if I see to say I can't manage to treat that, then we have our own vet. Like the vet is based in the back, then I'll contact the vet in the back, then you come and see, then to say, okay, this problem, I'll be able to work on it. But if he is not like comfortable to say he's going to manage to work on that dog which has a problem, then we also have a consultant veterinary in Saga, that's Dr. Tom. So you contact him, then after that communication is either the consultant vet will tell us to say you need to bring that dog to Lusaka, or I'll come down just to go to come and check on the dogs. Then he will come. Then after that, like we also have fitness, like us is the law enforcement like unit. So for them, we always tell the officer should always be fit. Even your partner should always be fit. So we have established something like which we call it's just fitness both for handler and for the dog. Yeah.
So the dog does fitness and the handler does fitness.
Yes. So me as a handler, I need to be fit. Also, my dog to work well, it needs to be fit. So we have trainings like we have Tuesdays, Thursdays. We need to do like fitness for both handler and the dog. Yeah. For the trainings, we have 3 days in a week where we come like the team. As the team, we have just about 18, including me. So that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We also come in together just to make sure that everyone is not leaving behind, or say maybe this one is having problem with this dog. So on those days, we meet together so that we see who is behind, who is not behind. So if we see to say this one is behind, then we'll be able to see, say, okay, if you are behind, we are going to carry you with our trainings, because that person will be able to see what the other handler is doing with that dog. Then there will be nothing like, no, I'm behind, like this. No.
So very important that everybody's doing the training. The dogs do the regular training and the handlers.
Yes, like for those, like we have those 3 days, that's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The whole team comes in, but we also have those who are on the duty. They need to do it every day.
Okay.
We always make sure that we leave 2 at the kennels who are doing the training with the dogs. Then these other days, these 3 days, the whole team needs to come in. Then when we go out for operations, we have standard operation procedures like SOPs. We have put in SOPs, like each handler knows what to do when he or she goes out with the dog on operation. Then in the vehicles, we have first aid kits, like for the handler, also for the dog, just to make sure that we see to say, okay, if they have seen to say there is a problem, then that handler will be able to report, or that handler will be able to work on that dog that alone, because they are trained on that. We every day, like it's more like we are doing it every day, but he received some training for veterinary just to know to say if the handler has to face this problem when they are in the operation around, they can work on it.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you. Thank you. That's a lot to be covering. A lot to stay on top of for you to manage all of the people and all of the dogs. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about the actual dogs now, the dogs themselves. I think people at home will be interested to know a bit more about the different breeds of dogs that everybody has and they use, and the dogs themselves, their different personalities and what they're like. I don't know. Do your working dogs have different personalities, do you think? Joseph, what dogs are you working with in Kenya? What can you tell us about them, please?
Yeah, in northern Kenya, we are working two dogs. So I've told you, a pure bloodhound. She is called Ruby, 6 years old, and a cross bloodhound Doberman, 5 years. She is called Nasut. And the reason why we have two different breeds is that the nature of operations is quite unique, and we operate sometimes in very cold areas like in Mount Kenya, and also sometimes we go up to northern Kenya where it's too hot. And when we operate in the cooler areas and more crowded areas, we prefer using a pure bloodhound. And reason being is, because of their concentration, and they can be able to do a very great work when it comes to crowded places, and they have a very perfect nose to do self-discrimination. And also they are very cool, to be honest, because they cannot be distracted with the local dogs, kids, people, vehicles. She's just focusing, and she is not bothered with anything in those crowded areas. And any other time, maybe she gets into someone, even in the community areas, she is just very friendly, and she can come close to you, even hug you, or maybe sit next to you. She is very friendly. So for the pure bloodhound, we really prefer working it on cooler areas and more crowded places. They are flabby, they are heavy, and when they go to northern Kenya, they really strain a bit. But now for the cross bloodhound Doberman, that girl called Naso, she is a machine. And when she gets into northern Kenya, it's very hot, and she can track for about 5 kilometers comfortably without even any signs of getting tired. So all those factors combined, the energy, the traits, we can be able to, this dog can really help this area in terms of curbing any kind of insecurity. Because we can deploy them to do road banditry, tourist attack, someone get lost or poaching or anything. So, and because of all those challenges, these dogs, and they have different personalities, they have different traits, and they're the best. Both of them, they're the best. But now the pure bloodhound, just slightly good when it comes, to crowded places and where we sometimes we get kids. And it also gives us a chance to interact with the local communities, because really people admire what we do. And the moment we get out with these dogs, when they see, our rangers, our handlers working with the dogs, they just want to come close to it. And when we have that very pure bloodhound, we are very comfortable to interact with the community people, and even more so the kids, because they can be able to come and pet the dogs and interact with the dogs. So yes, we have these dogs. The reason why we have those different breeds is because of the nature of our job, and the area we deploy them to on hot pursuits.
And maybe this isn't a professional question, Joseph, but do you have a favorite, or are they both very good dogs?
They are both good to me, but the favorite is that pure bloodhound, to be honest, because whenever we get out, we can be able to, get close to people comfortably without even worrying. Maybe, she can, get mad or maybe attack someone or something. She is very friendly, to be honest. So I really admire her, and just slightly more than the cross bloodhound Doberman. Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph. Lucky, what about you? What kind of dogs are you using?
The dogs that we have on this side is two Dutch Shepherds and two bloodhounds.
So also bloodhounds and then Dutch Shepherds.
Yes, two of them, and the other ones. Yes. So as from this pack, we just have to find out what is the most useful dog that we might have, and for what reason, what purpose that, and where is it going to help us on this fighting with this poaching thing. So the favorite one which I had is Captain, the one which is a Dutch Shepherd.
Okay.
So and then I was the main handler of Captain, and especially Captain is working more on the detection. His nose is sharp. The receptors that he got from the detection is 100% sharp, and
Wow.
also on the tracking human scent, he is also 100%. I was the main handler from his puppy, because I was training him from his early age stage. So then he used to me and I used to him, and we also created a strong bond with that dog. But almost all of them, because we might not have to separate. Remember, they are the part of the members, part of the team, and they are the most useful members that we have, because we are they always be in front of line, and they are in front of the fire line also during the operations. And the bloodhounds we used more, they work more on the old tracks scent. They also got those receptors that they got those many receptors that they used to track the old scent. If I'm talking the old scent from yesterday, we're gonna track it. We're gonna do the follow-ups on the next morning. They use to that, and we also train them to use to that from the old scent.
Yeah.
And they are working 100% good on those one.
So
And
your big favorite is Captain, is that right, Lucky?
yeah, Captain, yes, for the moment, yeah.
Captain is the best one.
Yeah.
How old is Captain?
How old? 4
4.
years. Yes, he's still young, and he's getting there. Yeah, he's even learning a lot, because according to detection, he's also able to detect the firearms, the ammunitions, also the rhino horn. Especially most of the time, if we got some certain information, maybe from outside the environment, we also go there out and then do those operations. We also do the stop and searches along the roads, along with the SAPS or without the SAPS. We are working along with the community members, whatever certain information that we got from them. We also working.
Oh, sorry, Lucky.
With these dogs, we also working 90% at night.
Okay.
Yes, and also the safety is needed from both sides, the team and also the dogs. As I've said, we're also working along with the anti-poaching unit to support us to provide us with safety and security. Yes.
Thank you, Lucky. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lucky. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna stop you there so I can ask
Okay.
Joyce about her favorite dog, and so we still have chance for everybody else's questions at home. They're jumping in to ask questions from you. So sorry, forgive me, Joyce.
Okay, no problem.
What about you? What dogs are you using in Zambia, and do you have a favorite?
Currently we are only using 2 types. We have German Shepherd and also Belgian Marine ones. And my favorite goes to German Shepherd, and that's Ike. Although she's retiring, but she is my favorite. Yeah. As you know, we are working with the investigation and intelligence unit, like when we are doing average sweeps. So for her and these other dogs which we have, it's very easy for us to they have obedience. Like it's very easy for us to move with them, especially when you're moving with them, because that obedience helps us also to move with them in the people. Like even if you go out around the villages, you tell the dog to do something, then that dog will listen to you. So that's working for us.
Thank you, Joyce. And actually, we have a question in the chat for Madeline. Apologies, Madeline. Joyce, Madeline was asking what happens to the dogs once they reach retirement age. So maybe you can tell us what will happen to Ike now she's retiring.
Okay, like what happens, what will happen to Aiki since now she's retiring? We'll take her to Lusaka to Tommy, like the doctor who do the checkup. We'll see to say is she fine or is she fit or she's just the age which is making that dog to retire. Then after that, we'll look like home for her to like where she is going to stay. Like the ownership will remain with us. We'll be checking with her on her, even if you take her home. But we also sometimes will allow us to come and see her. Like, she's alive until the end of her life. Like
Oh, okay. So they go to a nice retirement home with somebody from the park who knows them.
yes.
Very good. Very nice story. So before we jump into questions from the floor, maybe one last opportunity to tell a story about one of the dogs. Joseph, I think you had a story about Ruby and how she rescued somebody in one of the communities. Maybe could you share that one with us, please?
You know, the bigger thing of these dogs is we are doing a lot of things to our community. And most of the things are non-conservation related matters because some of the incidents, some of the reports that we get from our community, we always deploy these dogs, we deploy our rangers to go and help them. Because, you know, we know they are contributing a very bigger percent when it comes to conservation. And now in this case, Ruby, we got a call in one of the neighboring communities that borders Laos to the south. And in fact, that person was one of our staff and he is still around. And he reported to us in the evening that his father got lost. You know, his father was aging, and when they are looking at their livestock, he just got lost in the forest, unfortunately. And in the evening, they cannot be able to get him. And they reported to us. The following morning, we turned the scene of crime. First thing in the morning, we identified the footprint exactly, and then we saw that yes, he had disappeared into those big bushes. And now our girl Ruby, you know, we just started from the scene of crime, put on the harness, you know, cast along that scene of crime. She picked up that scent of the old man. We tracked for about 4 or 5 kilometers. Sorry, and we rescued him. We got him alive and just seated under the tree. And you know, the gentleman who really reported that one of our staff, he cannot really believe, and he was overjoyed, and he was really so much thankful, and not even just him, but the whole community, because they saw how Ruby saved the life of that old man. And it was so much lucky because where he got lost is that's in Garandare Forest Reserve that borders Laos to the south. And there's a lot of wildlife presence there. You know, the all lions, rhinos, elephant, all of them, they're there. But luckily, nothing got him during the night. And the following morning, Ruby did the job. We recovered him. We took him to his home alive. And that's a big testimony of these dogs really giving back to the community, working with the community, and doing many things that, you know, the perception of people thinks that we are always dealing with arms and, you know, operations. You are fighting with armed bandits and poachers. But now this one is quite unique because it was a rescue mission successfully, and we are so much happy.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great story. Thanks, Joseph. And you're right. People don't perhaps automatically think about dogs doing that kind of work. They're thinking about the crime side of things in the reserve. So that's a great story, and it was wonderful you were so successful so quickly. And actually, your point about this incident happening in the area with the lions and rhinos around, there've been quite a few people jumping in and asking us questions about dangerous situations for the dogs. And I know you kind of touched on this earlier about keeping dogs safe, but people are writing in asking if you come across lions or hippos or elephants when you're working with the dogs. How do you handle those kind of dangerous situations?
Yeah, just to try and answer that is, when you are working in a conservation area, sometimes you get into dangerous situations, and you have to make sure that the safety of your dogs and yourself is quite guaranteed. And as rangers, we have been trained on so much, tactics and techniques on how we can be able to get out of these wild animals without hurting them or without them hurting us. And when we are really tracking, and then perhaps we see the footprints very fresh, or maybe a lion or an elephant or a rhino or something, we cannot just continue following those tracks, because we know at the end of it we will, bump to this animal, and it's quite dangerous. So sometimes we try and make a loop just to make sure that we cannot get where these wildlife are. Because they might hurt our dog, they might hurt ourselves, and we don't also to go and stress them in their territory. So we try as much as we can on how we can be able to have that very peaceful coexistence and make sure that the wildlife are safe and we are also safe. And the moment also we are doing tracking, and especially during the night, these dogs have a very sensitive and very powerful noses. And when they get smell of cats, that's now the leopard, the lion, dogs get scared because of that. And our handlers knows really that. The moment the dogs become so much uncomfortable and a bit of scared when they're doing tracking, we know definitely, they're getting a smell of either a lion or a leopard or something that really scares the dog. And from there, we make sure that the dog is quite comfortable. We secure the dog. We can even get out of that track and we make a big loop. We can try and find the tracks elsewhere. Because when you are working in the conservation, you have to make sure that everything really living in their space freely without being disturbed or stressed. But when you're working outside, it's a different story, because the wildlife outside the protected areas are not as many as, or not even many, they are not concentrated in one place as wildlife living in protected areas. So in the community areas, it's quite easy for us to dodge, and it's quite open. We know how we can be able to make sure we maneuver through all this wildlife. We can get out of their places, their territory, and then we can be able to continue with our work, our tracking, and make sure that, yes, at the end of the day, our dogs are safe, the wildlife are safe, and we have been able to accomplish our mission.
Thank you, Joseph. I think this is I know we're coming close to the end of our time now, but I think this is an important question. I wonder, do you have anything to add to that, Lucky? What has been your experience with dangerous animals and the dogs?
Yeah, I like what Joseph has been highlighted some of the points there. The different situation from training the dog from inside to the outside the community is totally the different, because even the training is also going to be the different. Because you can find out outside the community, we're dealing with the different livestock outside there. Many members of the community are walking up and down there. So if your dog is not also trained well to overcome the situation, it's going to be a problem.
Of course.
So we also, on this side, we also have to train the dogs outside the community, and Joseph have highlighted and Joyce that we have to train outside the community, and we have to work with we also have that relationship with the community. So if they will never having that mind if they saw us outside.
Right.
And
Lucky, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to stop you again, so I can just ask Joyce the question, whether she's had issues with dogs and dangerous animals in her park. Have we lost Joyce? Do you come across lions and elephants when you're working with the dogs?
Not really for us, because as I've said, we are not just based in the park alone. So our work is not most about the working in the park. We are moving, we are moving out from the park. So most of us, we are working with the communities. Like we are borders with Malawi and Tanzania. So we are moving, like we are not just strictly in the park. So we have 10 about 10 provinces in Zambia, but we are based in Muchenga province. So on that we are not facing such
Not
type
so
of
much of a
challenge.
Not so
Yeah.
much of a problem. So there's another quick question from Germany, maybe you can all answer. How long does it take to train a dog from the start until your dog is ready to work in the field? How long does the training start with a new dog, please?
On my side, I can say by right now we do still have a dog which is we like looking at it. It is not ready enough for live reaction because of it's still undergoing the process and of training. Yeah, and he's keeping the pace. He's there. He's on that level that we are looking for. His name is Bruno.
Bruno,
The bloodhound.
how long have you been training Bruno so far, Lucky?
It's been because he's 2 years now. It's been a year. It's been a year training him, and
He's still, so the training takes more than a year. He's still learning as he goes.
he is learning 100%. The training goes with the performance of the dog that is giving to you as a handler, and you are able to access each and every behavior, or what are you teaching the dog? Is the dog learning, or what else you have to put it on the training process to keep your dog perform at your certain at your level, or whatever you want the dogs to meet that level.
So continuous training and different dogs learn quicker. Some dogs learn quicker than others.
Exactly, because
Same experience for you, Joseph?
These dogs are just like human beings, and for us as rangers, it's either you rest and you rust. So for us, is after they finish the initial training, when they're not being used quite often to deploy to do the real operations, you have to maintain the training records and the training levels. So for us, every week, these dogs has to go out for about 3 to 4 days training, doing a real training, either inside the protected area or to the community areas, just to make sure they are fit enough, they are healthy, and they are ready to be deployed operationally. So for us, it's just like yes, if they are not really very consistent, we don't have like consistent deployments, or we don't have so many calls from outside or maybe within to deploy them operationally. We also now have to train them to make sure that they're up to speed and to maintain their fitness levels, their noses, and make sure that they are good. So for us, every week we have to train them. It's just like rangers. If they rest, definitely they won't pass their fitness tests. Yeah.
It's an ongoing process. Always.
Yes, always. Yeah.
Well, I'm really sorry. I could have stayed and chatted to the three of you for so much longer, but we've got 2 minutes until we come to the end of this evening's event. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to start wrapping up. But really, thank you so much for sharing your time with us and sharing your stories about the work that you do and the dogs, and how important the dogs are for the vital work that you're doing for rhinos. I also wanted just to take a moment to remind everybody about our Christmas appeal and Paws on Patrol, which will be supporting Lucky and Joseph and Joyce and their dogs, and enabling them to continue doing this vital work that they're out doing every day and every night. Between the 2nd and 9th of December, any money given will be doubled in support. So please look out for that opportunity, and please help us to help the Canine Units. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening. It's great to have such an engaged audience and so many people from around the world signing up and asking questions and being interested in this work. Lucky, Joyce and Joseph, thank you for making time available to talk to us this evening. We know how important your work is and how valuable your time is. So really, thank you. We appreciate you joining us, and I hope you found this interesting and useful and you've learnt from each other. And thank you very much to the team here at Rhino HQ in London who sort out all the tech and make these events happen. We'll have more webinars coming up next year. If anybody watching has a suggestion for a topic, please do get in touch, and we're happy to share stories and keep you up to date with Rhino News. Thanks very much, everybody. Good night.